Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Jordan Gusky there, Alex McCarthy here, and Indiana lost again to Iowa in a very familiar fashion. Basically, what we've seen throughout Big Ten play. IU lost 35-27, and you were saying this as we went down onto the field. It was like, yeah, they lost by just one possession, but it didn't feel like it was
Not at
a
all.
one possession
Not
game.
at all. And it wasn't even like recent games where they haven't really won the time possession battle. Now, Iowa did have about 10 minutes more possession time than they did, but still it felt like whenever Iowa would have the ball, you just expected them to go down to drive, like get out like a 5 or 6 minute drive, just kill the clock, get a touchdown, and then Indiana was left with nothing. And even when Indiana had its few really good drives, they seemed to come out of nowhere. Like you expected it from Iowa.
Yeah.
And when it happened with Indiana, it was like, wow, like all right, so it's now it's a game. But other than that, it was really just a pretty disappointing game all around.
Yeah, Indiana went down 14-3, and then came back with 14 straight points to take the lead. It was the only lead that they would have. And then on the last drive of the first half, when Indiana was trying to protect that slim lead, Iowa was going down the field. T.J. Simmons, who had a career game against Michigan State last time out, was ejected for targeting midway through that drive. Iowa goes down, scores, takes the 21-17 lead in halftime, and then Indiana's offense just really didn't have much really after halftime. They didn't score in the third quarter. I think that's the first time this year they haven't scored in the third quarter. And then in the fourth, it was kind of more of the same, where Indiana scored 10 points in the fourth quarter, but the second touchdown was pretty meaningless. I mean, it was pretty well over once Iowa got up 35-20. But it was for the best passing offense in the Big Ten. Indiana did not look the part today. Nick Sudfeld really didn't. I mean, he looked okay at times, and his receivers dropped a ton of passes today. But he just looked a little bit off. He was 16 for 37, an interception, and a touchdown. You wrote about it, obviously, a little bit. What do you think the problem was with that passing game?
Well, the drops are definitely going to hurt. I think that's what kept him from having his normal maybe like high 280s game, especially with that Mitchell Page drop down the field on the left sideline. That would have been huge, and that almost turned into an interception too. And he had a few plays that could have been interceptions. I think the biggest thing besides the drop was just that Iowa, contrary to IU's pass defense kind of strategies, that Iowa's always there. They always had pressure on Indiana's guys. It's why I think it was Cooper or Corsaro going across the middle. He could have had like a 25-yard play.
Yeah, Corsaro.
And Corsaro, and he kind of like goes up. He got like short arms and he dropped the ball because he was anticipating getting hit. Because earlier in the game, Iowa was always there, and when Indiana had that little bit of separation like they did with Corsaro there, they just anticipated that Iowa was going to be there. And I think that's something that Indiana can look at too in their pass defense. Now maybe Iowa didn't really kill them with the passing attack. Really, it's more the running that really like wore them down. But when you're trying to stop a team, really Indiana just has to look to what Iowa did against them. You put pressure on the receivers. That means the quarterbacks are gonna have to gamble. That's what turned into the interception on the line. King again. Like I wrote about on Monday that if you want to succeed in the passing game, you gotta be able to keep the ball out of King's hands, and they weren't able to do that. As I said, there were a couple other plays that should have been receptions, and that really got just pressure, not allowing, making Sudfeld gamble, and when he gambled, usually he didn't succeed.
Right. It was just a game where really nothing went well in the pass game. Jordan Howard was back to close to 100% at least. I mean, he looked the part. He looked like he was back to 100%. 21 carries for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think Indiana ran for the most yards that any team has run for against Iowa this year. So
I think coming into the game, Iowa only had 1 touchdown allowed on the ground, and Howard ran for 2.
Yeah, and Iowa was allowing 85 point something yards per game on the ground, and Indiana ended up running for a lot more than that.
I think it was over 200.
227.
Yeah.
So pretty good game there for Indiana, but just kind of an imbalanced offense. And another of the huge things was Indiana not being able to stop Iowa on third down. And one of the keys to succeeding on third down is forcing the other team into 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, things like that. And Indiana did that. They did a good job of that. But then on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, Iowa would get 12 yards. They would get like
those tight end
Right.
passes across the middle every
Yeah,
time.
I mean they would just throw right to the sticks, and Indiana would, there'd be, whether it was a gap in their zone or something like that, um, they would just always be able to convert, and then that seemed to really propel the offense through those drives, and they seemed to pick up speed as soon as they converted those third downs. So if Indiana was able to, I mean, it just comes down to like 4 plays, something like that, where if Indiana's able to stop Iowa on a third down and get the ball back, that just changes the game hugely. And it was something that killed them against Michigan State too. So, and Kevin Wilson said it, and it's just kind of basic football knowledge. Good teams are good on third down. Good teams stop you. They get you off the field, or they extend their drives when they have the ball. And Indiana did a good job converting on third down. They were 8 for 17, and they also had 2 fourth down conversions, but they just couldn't get off the field on defense. So kind of more of the same for Indiana. I'm not sure really how much you learned from watching this video. It's just the same stuff that has been plaguing them all season, or all Big Ten season.
Right.
So I don't know if they'll turn it around. We've seen really no hint of them being able to grow and turn this around. It's just kind of the same script every game. So we'll see if that script gets a rewrite against Michigan next week in Indiana's home finale. Nate Sudfeld's last home game. Nate Sudfeld, who is now the all-time leader at IU in passing touchdowns. So good for him, I guess. But I'm sure he'd rather be doing it for a winning team. So we'll see if Indiana can climb back to 500 next week. It's going to be a tough Michigan team that had another big win today over Rutgers. And then Indiana hits the road for the last couple of games. But that's all we've got from tonight. That's Jordan Gutsky. I'm Alice McCarthy. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you soon.